Director of Teacher Development and Teachers College for Y Yoga. And this is a class that focuses on the revitalization and the functionality of your feet. I hope you enjoy it.
Come in my video. We're going to do
So
yoga
we'll
together.
start our foot adventure by stretching out our toes. So take one of your feet with your hand and interlace your fingers between your toes as far as you can, right up to the toe webbing, to get a really nice, good grip. So this will feel pretty stretchy if you're not used to it. And then let's take some nice ankle circles here. So our feet often get neglected in our daily life. We ignore them, put them into hard shoes. Ladies, we wear high heels. So giving a little love and attention to our toes, our ankles, and our feet can go a long way to changing our practice and our balance, even how we walk. So take your circles the other way.
So much.
See if you can bring your fingers up even a little bit closer into the webbing of your toes. And then let that foot go. Maybe give your foot a little rub and wake it up. And then changing sides.
Your feet still?
Again, interlace your fingers as high as you can up into the webbing of your toes.
I don't know.
And then start to give yourself a little roll through your ankle. So there are also these nerves in our feet and our ankles called proprioceptors. And when we wear shoes all day, as we do, these nerves stop firing as much. So that means that our balance gets compromised.
Look how mine was.
So by doing a practice like yoga, go ahead and take your circle in the other direction, where we get to be barefoot and really wake up our feet. That can really help to keep our balance over time, which is really important, especially as we get older. A couple more circles here.
Boy, guys,
and then give your foot a little rub.
Some foot care before the class starts. Just
get over toes.
Just get like a brush
and then
build a bridge.
Get a brush, like. Brush.
And place your hands shoulder distance apart and spread your fingers wide. And then curl your toes underneath so that you can feel all 10 of your toes pressing into the mat. And even see if you can get the pinky toes underneath. And then press into the balls of your feet. And use that to inhale and stretch your chest forward through your arms. And then as you exhale, press the tops of your feet down. Pull your toes towards you to lift your ankles as you curl your tailbone down and round your spine. So starting both of these movements from your feet, curl your toes under, stretch your tailbone back, and then from there, draw your chest forward through your arms. And then pressing the tops of your feet down, pulling your toes towards you, and then from there, lengthening your tailbone and rounding your spine up. And continuing to move through these two movements, starting each one from your feet.
So good. It's really good for my upper back. I can really feel the stretch.
Good.
Take one more inhale. And this time as you exhale, keeping your toes curled under, press down into your hands, lift your knees just an inch, and then press back through your hips to get a nice stretch through the bottoms of your feet. Root into your hands, and then begin to stretch your hips up towards the sky. And bend your left knee, take your right heel down towards the floor to stretch through the back of your calf. And you can even roll across the foot here to stretch through the muscle. And then switching sides, bend your right knee, stretch your left heel back, and rock from the inner foot to the outer foot. And switching sides again, right heel back. And bending your right knee, left heel back. Inhale and come forward into plank pose. Lower your knees down, bring your forearms down to the floor. Then interlace your hands together all the way up to the webbing. Press your elbows down and lift through the sides of your ribs. And you can do this one foot at a time for a little bit extra support. Or if you're feeling strong through your core and can keep your lower belly lifted, then stretch both legs back at the same time. Bringing your shoulders right over your elbows, lift your bottom ribs in and up. And then as you lift your bottom ribs in and up to your body, at the same time, stretch your chest forward towards your thumbs and melt your heart just a little bit down towards your mat. And then finding your feet here, use your forearms to press back into the balls of your feet. And then as you inhale, bring your nose to your thumbs and shift forward onto your tippy toes. And then pressing back through the soles of your feet, give them a nice stretch. Inhaling in, moving forward. Exhaling, pressing back. Try to keep your body here in one line, so keep lifted through the armpits and your lower belly.
Is that it?
No, I'm not giving up.
You need a breather.
Twice more.
Stop messing around.
Last time. Reach your chest forward, stay on your tippy toes, and then pressing back, lower your knees down, and then start to walk your hands up towards your knees. Curl your toes under. Even bring the big toe mounds together, and then sit back onto your heels. And then take your hands and use your hands to pull your pinky toes out so they get a nice stretch too. Now the tendency here is going to be to want to shift forward to avoid wading through the soles of the feet. So instead, resist that desire, draw your ribs in, and let your hips settle down into the tops of your feet. If you need to take a break from this, you can just simply come up onto your knees. Otherwise, hug your thighs together, hug your feet together, and allow your pelvis to settle back and down. And then inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Stretch your right arm underneath your left arm, and either hold on right underneath the shoulders. If you have the flexibility here, bring your forearms up. You might just grab a fingertip or press the backs of your hands together. And then eventually wrapping the palms. Lift your elbows up, press your forearms forward, and then soften your ribs in as you draw your shoulders down. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. Inhale, open your arms up. Second side, bring your left arm underneath your right arm. Either holding onto the shoulders, flipping the palms up, eventually wrapping the hands. Lift your elbows up, press the forearms forward, soften your shoulders, and now recommit to drawing your lower belly in, soften your ribs, and settle back and down through your hips. Press the toes a little bit more into the mat, and you'll feel the bottoms of your feet lift slightly to support you. Inhaling in, unravel your arms. Bring your hands back to the floor, come off your toes, and then tap the tops of your feet.
Oh, my toes are going to break.
That probably feels really good. And then curl your toes under again. Firm your outer arms in. Press up and back to downward facing dog. And notice any difference that you feel now through the bottoms of your feet.
Yeah, my feet feel full.
Look up to your hands. Soften your knees and then slowly walk your feet forward towards your hands and place your feet hip distance apart. Press down through the four corners of your feet and bring your hands to your hips. Lift your elbows, lift your shoulders, and root down through your heels. Anchor your tailbone to come all the way up to stand. And release your hands by your sides. Pressing down into the four corners of your feet. Let's take a moment to sway a little bit from side to side. So sway over to the right side, and then to the back of your heels, and then over to the left side, and then to the front. And then again over to the right, to the back, to the left, and to the front. And then take it in the other direction, waking up the bottoms of your feet. And then start to find the place, swaying side to side, where you feel anchored right in the middle of your heels, right in the middle of your feet. And then swaying a little front to back. Make the sway smaller and smaller until you find that spot where you feel that your weight is anchored right above your ankles. And stretch down through your fingertips. Lift through the inner arches of your feet and firm your outer shins in. And as you inhale, float your arms all the way up towards the sky. Press down through your feet as you exhale and forward fold. As you inhale, lift up halfway. You can float your fingertips onto your shins. As you exhale, bring your fingertips to the floor. Step your left leg back and bring the ball of your foot into the mat. Then lower your back knee down, hug your inner thighs together, and inhale, rise up. As you exhale, curl your tailbone down, settle your hips forward, and press a little bit more into the ball of your back foot to lift your pelvis. As you exhale, bring your fingertips down towards the floor. Step back into plank pose, and either with knees down or with legs straight, shift forward, lower halfway or all the way down. As you inhale, move into your back bend, either baby cobra or upward dog. And then as you exhale, lift up, roll over your toes to press back to downward facing dog. And then press through your hands and stretch your hips up and back. Everybody inhale and lift high up onto your tippy toes. Get your heels high in the air and take a moment to notice if your heels have disappeared behind the back of your ankles. So if you can see your inner heels or your outer heels, then adjust your feet so that both the inner and the outer heel are pressing back at the same rate. Lift your heels a little higher, keep your thighs lifted, and then as you lift your thighs up, slowly begin to descend your heels and reach them back towards your mat. Hug your inner thighs in, and as you inhale, stretch your left leg up towards the sky. Hug your inner thighs together, and then rather than letting the foot just kind of hang out here, actively stretch through your heel. As you exhale, draw your knee into your chest, and then place the left foot as high up towards the left thumb as you can. Lower your back knee down. Still keeping the back toes curled under. Inhale and reach your arms up. Curl your tailbone down, sit a little forward, and press the toes into the mat behind you. Take one more breath. Exhale, lower your hands down. Lift your back knee off the floor, step forward, inhale, lift up halfway. And then as you exhale, fold in. Press through your feet, inhale, rise all the way up to stand. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down to your sides. Inhaling in, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, forward fold. Inhaling in, lift up halfway. This time, lift your right foot up, step your right foot back, lower your back knee down. Point your toes this time, and pull the toes towards you until you feel your back ankle lift slightly. Hug in, and then inhale and reach your arms up to come into low crescent. Pull your back toes towards you, and from the back toes, feel your lower belly lift up a little bit more. Inhale in, stretch your arms to the sky. And as you exhale, slowly lower your hands down. Lift your back knee up, but keep the back toes flat on the floor, and then press into your palms and step back into a plank with the tops of your feet pressing down. Inhale here.
I know. It's
Exhale, lowering halfway or all the way down. Inhale right into your upward facing dog or baby cobra. And then lift your hips, lift your thighs, roll over your tippy toes to press all the way back to downward facing dog. Press down into your hands, stretch your hips back, and one more time, let's press back and down through the left heel, bend your right knee. And then lifting, changing sides. Press your right heel back and down. Inhale, lift your right heel up, press your left heel back and down. And inhale, lifting up, press your right heel back and down. Lift up through your hips, hug your inner thighs, and then inhale and stretch your right leg up. Again, rather than letting the foot just sort of hang out, engage through the whole leg by pressing your heel back. That might even draw your hips back and up higher. As you exhale, draw your knee into your chest, shift forward, round your spine, and then place your foot as close to your right thumb as you can. Lower your back knee down. This time, point your left toes.
so humid, huh?
Hug your inner thighs towards each other. So from the toes, pull in and up through your legs as you reach your arms up. Settle your hips down. Inhaling in, draw your ribs in, take a big stretch.
Here, come on.
And as you exhale, lower your hands down. Curl your back toes under, lift your back thigh up. And then as you inhale, step forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, fingers to shins or to the floor.
Yoga.
And then as you exhale, forward fold.
How long is this about?
Hug your heels towards each other.
40.
Inhale, rise
Yeah.
all the way up to stand.
Stop whinging, come on.
We have done 15
And
minutes.
as you
Come on.
exhale, bring your hands
I don't
back
think I
down
can finish
towards
it.
your sides.
Well, at least do more.
Now, changing, turn to the side of your mat, and then take your feet nice and wide. So if I extend my hands out, my ankles are pretty much underneath my wrists. Turn your left toes in just slightly, and then from the very top of your right thigh, turn your right thigh bone out, lining up your front heel with the middle of your back arch. Draw your outer left hip in, press the outer edge of your back foot down, so use your foot to anchor yourself into your mat, and resist the foot back as you bend your right knee down to a square. Now notice here, rather than pressing into the toes of my right foot, I'll press more into the heel of the right foot to anchor my weight down straight through my shin bone. Take your inner thighs back a little bit and root your sitting bones down towards the floor, and inhale, spread your arms nice and wide. Pressing down through your front right heel, inhale and stretch your top arm up and over your ear. And then against the fingertips reaching over your head, begin to bend your right knee just a little bit more. Inhaling in, come back up to center. This time shift your hips back, move your sitting bones towards your back heel, and bring your fingertips down towards your front shin for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Now in this pose, if I press into my heel, I'll tend to press my knee back and into the floor. So instead, press more into the big toe mound of your right foot to soften the back of your front knee. And as you press into the big toe mound of your right foot, continue to draw your outer right hip back and in. Spread your arms. If your balance is strong here, you can take your gaze up towards your thumbs and take a nice deep breath in.
Come on.
Exhale fully out.
All right.
Rigorously pressing down into your feet now. Inhale and rise back up. Bend your front knee to a square.
It's a bit hard, man.
You'll be right.
And then straighten both of your legs. Turn your right thigh in, turn your left thigh out, and change sides. Press down into the outer edge of your right foot as you bend your left knee to a square. And then again, instead of pressing into the left toes, press more into your left heel. Really root the heel down into the mat to sink a little deeper into your thigh. Press your thigh wide to the left, so root a little bit more to the outer edge of your left foot as you inhale and stretch your left arm over your ear. Shifting forward, draw your hips back towards your back heel and float your fingertips down towards your shin. And this time, press more weight into your left big toe mound as you draw your left sitting bone back. And then lengthen through both sides of your waist. Turn your chest up towards the sky. Take one more inhale. Press firmly down through both feet. Inhale, rise up. Pressing into your front heel, bend down into warrior two. And then stretch both legs to straight. And turn both toes forward. Turn your heels in. And then bend your knees, and we'll come into like kind of like a coaching pose or like a fly girl at a club pose. Okay, so press your inner thighs back and root your sitting bones down towards the floor. Now, as we come up, your knees will probably want to draw in. So resist that by pressing into the outer edges of your feet as you lift your chest up and then sit down into your legs. Open your arms for a little bit of balance. And notice if the front ribs want to kind of move forward, draw them back and into your body. Soften your shoulders. Pressing into the right big toe mound, lift up onto your right toes, and then place your right heel down. Press into your left toe mound, lift your left heel up, and then place it down. Lift onto your right toes, press it down. Lift onto your left toes, and then press your heel down. Lift up onto your right toes, pause here, root down into the toes, hug your thighs towards each other, and then begin to lift up onto your left toes as well. Hug the legs in, soften your shoulders, sit down into your legs a little bit more, firm the thighs towards each other, and then place your heels lightly down onto the floor. Inhale, stand all the way up, turn your toes forward, and give your hips a little shake. Inhale, lift your chest, press into your